A dying K9 used her last strength to find a missing child the moment they carried her out. Every officer wept. She was supposed to be retired. The paperwork was already signed. 12 years of service. 41 successful missions. A body that had finally given too much to give anymore. Her name was Bella, an 11-year-old German shepherd with a torn ACL in her left rear leg, arthritis spreading through both hips, and a heart condition her vet had described, carefully, gently, as a ticking clock. She had maybe 3 months left. Maybe. Her handler, Sergeant Cole Hargrove of the Boone County Sheriff's Department in Missouri, had been told to keep her calm. No running. No humping. No stress. That was the order. That was the plan. Until the morning a 4-year-old boy named Noah disappeared from his backyard in rural Ashland, Missouri, and every other search dog on the scene hit a dead end. What Bella did next wasn't in any manual. It wasn't protocol. It wasn't even physically possible for an animal in her condition. But she did it anyway. And when they finally found her, 3 hours later, half a mile into the woods, what she had done would bring every person on that scene to their knees. Stay with us. This story will reach inside you and rearrange something. Something you didn't even know needed moving. Hit like, subscribe, and drop your country in the comments right now. We want to know where in the world this story finds you today. Sergeant Cole Hargrove was 46 years old and had been working K9 for 14 years. He was the kind of man who arrived early and stayed late. The kind of man who remembered every handler's dog's name and asked about them first before asking about the handler. The kind of man who kept a handwritten log in his truck's glove compartment. Every missing person case he'd ever worked, names and dates in his careful block print, because he said once, quietly, to nobody in particular, "If I'm the only one who remembers, then at least someone does." He'd grown up in Columbia, Missouri, second of 3 boys. His father had been a firefighter for 30 years. His mother had run a small daycare out of their house for 20, which meant Cole Hargrove had been surrounded by small children his entire childhood, their chaos and noise and sudden absolute need, and had developed through no conscious effort a specific tenderness for them. He had 2 kids of his own, grown now. His son Derek was 23 and working construction in Kansas City. His daughter Tess was 21 and in her 2nd year at Mizzou. He was proud of both of them in the low-key, don't-make-a-fuss way of men from Missouri who love hard but talk about it rarely. His wife, Pam, had left 4 years ago. Not dramatically. Not in anger exactly. More in exhaustion. She'd sat across from him at the kitchen table on a Tuesday evening in October and said, "Cole, I have been competing with this job for 19 years, and I have never once won. I'm done competing." He'd wanted to argue. He'd opened his mouth. He'd looked at her face, the specific tired look of someone who has made a decision after a very long time of not making it. And he'd closed his mouth again. She wasn't wrong. He knew she wasn't wrong. Dr. Mehta had paused. With rest and medication, 3 to 6 months. Possibly more if she's kept calm and unstressed. Cole nodded. He'd driven her home. He'd set up her bed in the living room where the morning light came through the east window, because she had always loved morning light, had always turned her face into it the way people do in winter when the sun finally appears. He'd sat on the floor beside her that first night and told her she'd been the best partner he'd ever had. She'd put her head in his lap. He hadn't slept. The retirement was official as of 6 weeks ago. Bella was home, medicated, resting, following him from room to room with the slow, deliberate movements of an animal managing constant pain with constant dignity. Too proud to show it. Too much like him. On the morning of April 14th, Cole arrived at the Boone County Sheriff's Department at his usual time. Bella was not with him, for the first time in 9 years. He sat in his truck in the parking lot for 3 minutes before going inside. Nobody said anything about it. Nobody had to. The call came in at 7:23 a.m. Noah Garrett, 4 years old, last seen in the backyard of his family's property on Ridgeline Road in Ashland, a rural area east of town, bordering several hundred acres of dense Missouri woodland. His mother had gone inside for 8 minutes to answer the phone. 8 minutes. When she came back out, the gate was open and Noah was gone. Cole was on scene by 7:51. The family property backed up against thick, mature forest, oak and hickory, dense undergrowth, a creek that ran cold and fast from spring snowmelt. The terrain was difficult. The temperature was 44 degrees and dropping. A 4-year-old in that woods. Cole felt the familiar clench in his chest. Professional. Controlled. He surveyed the scene. 2 other K9 units had already been deployed, a bloodhound named Rex and a younger shepherd named Zeus. Both were working the yard perimeter, try to catch a scent trail. Rex lost it at the tree line. Zeus ran a pattern into the first 20 yards of woods and circled back 3 times. The scent was cold or scattered. The morning dew had settled. The wind had shifted. The trail was broken. Cole stood at the tree line with his radio and his notebook. He thought about Noah. For years old. He thought about Tess at 4 years old. The way she'd run, arms pumping toward anything that interested her, no awareness of distance or danger. He pressed his radio, called in a status, requested additional resources. Then he drove home. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. He didn't have to explain it to himself, either. He just drove. Bella was at the front door when he pulled in. She always knew his truck, had always known it from 2 blocks away. Some combination of sound and vibration and the particular rhythm of his driving that she had cataloged years ago and never forgotten. She was standing. That was the first thing. She should have been lying down. Morning was her best time, before the afternoon stiffness settled in. But even morning, she moved carefully, conserving. She was standing at the door. Weight shifted slightly to compensate for her bad hip. Dark eyes through the glass, already locked on him. Waiting. He got out of the truck. He walked to the door. He stood in front of her and looked at her, and she looked at him, and something passed between them. The specific wordless communication of a partnership 9 years deep, and Cole felt his throat close. "No," he said. "You're supposed to be resting." She held his gaze. "You can't, Bella." She didn't move. "Your heart." She pressed her nose against the glass. Cole stood there for 30 seconds. He was aware of Noah Garrett, of the woods, of the creek, of the temperature dropping another degree while he stood here. He was aware of what Dr. Mehta had said. He was aware of what Pam had said years ago at the kitchen table. He's been doing this job so long he forgot how to do anything else. He opened the door. Bella walked out. Not fast, not the explosive, controlled burst of her working prime, but steady, deliberate, moving with the focused intention of a creature that has made a decision and is committed to it. He opened the cruiser. She got in. He drove back to Ridgeline Road. He never told dispatch he was bringing her. He never asked permission. He just brought her. At the tree line, Cole fitted her with her old working harness, the one he'd kept hung in the garage because he hadn't been able to put it away anywhere else. It still fit. She stood straighter when he buckled it. He gave her Noah's scent item, a small fleece blanket from the boys' bed, retrieved by a deputy. She dropped her nose. She worked the yard, slowly, her movements careful and economical, nothing wasted. She was rationing herself. Cole could see it. The way she moved was different from her prime, more considered, like an athlete running on will rather than muscle. Rex and Zeus watched from the perimeter. Their handlers watched. Everyone watched. Bella reached the gate. She turned right, went north along the fence line. Not into the main woods where the other dogs had gone, but along the property edge, toward the far corner where an old stone wall marked the boundary of a neighboring farm. She stopped at the corner, nose working. Then she looked back at Cole. Dark eyes. "Steady." "You sure?" he said. She turned and walked through the gap in the stone wall. He followed. The terrain on the other side was different. Older growth, more canopy, the undergrowth thinner where the large oaks blocked light. The creek ran along the left side, maybe 40 yards down the slope. Bella moved parallel to it, not toward it. Parallel. Cole's radio crackled with updates from the main search team. Nothing. Zeus had lost the trail completely. Additional volunteers being staged at the road. He didn't respond. He watched Bella. She was moving slower now. The left rear leg was giving her more trouble on the uneven ground. She adjusted her gait, three-legged almost at times, taking weight off the bad hip. But she didn't stop. He reached for her twice. Twice she moved, just beyond his hand. Not yet. 40 minutes in, she stopped. The woods here were dense, a thick stand of cedar mixed with the oaks, low branches forming a kind of natural shelter against the sky. The creek sound was closer. Louder. Bella stood completely still, ears fully forward. Then she made a sound Cole had heard 41 times in 9 years. Not a bark, not a whine. A specific low, urgent vocalization that had no name in any manual but which meant, in their language, I found it. Come here. Now. Cole was already moving. Behind a fallen cedar trunk, a massive old tree down, maybe last winter, its root ball creating a natural wall, curled in the cavity where the roots had torn from the earth. Noah, knees to chest, eyes closed, small face pale with cold, lips slightly blue, breathing, shallow but present, a tiny pulse in his neck that Cole felt with 2 fingers and almost wept at. Breathing. Dispatch, KA9 Hargrove. I have the child. I have Noah. Alive. North of the Garrett property, old cedars stand past the stone wall, approximately half-mile from the back gate. I need medical now. He's hypothermic. Breathing. Responsive. Move. He shrugged off his jacket, wrapped it around Noah, pulled him against his chest. The boy's eyes fluttered. Hey, buddy. Cole's voice came out wrecked, and he didn't try to fix it. Hey, I've got you. You're okay. I've got you. Noah looked up at him, then past him, at Bella, who had sat down beside Cole's knee. Sat down because her legs were finally, after 41 missions in 9 years and a torn ACL and a failing heart, asking her to. Doggie, Noah said. One word. For years old and cold to the bone, and he said Doggie. Cole looked at Bella. She was breathing hard. Too hard. Her sides working with an effort that was visible and wrong. She was looking at Noah with an expression Cole did not have a word for. The expression of a creature that has spent itself completely on something and found it sufficient. Enough. He put one hand on her back. She leaned into it. Just slightly. Just enough. You found him, Cole said. She exhaled. Long. Slow. Like something releasing. The paramedics reached them in 11 minutes. Noah was airlifted to University of Missouri Healthcare in Columbia. Core temperature low, but recovering. Mild hypothermia. No other injuries. He had crawled into that cedar cavity sometime in the night, some instinct for shelter that small children have and adults forget, and stayed there. The doctor said another 2 hours, and it would have been a different conversation. Cole rode in the helicopter. Bella was carried out of the woods by 2 deputies, one at her front, one at her back, careful as if she were made of glass. She let them. That was how they knew. She never let anyone carry her. She let them. Dr. Meta drove from Columbia in 40 minutes. She met them at the staging area where they'd laid Bella on a thermal blanket in the back of Cole's cruiser. Door open, November air going cold around them. The examination was quiet. Dr. Meta's face said what she hadn't said yet. Her heart, she said. The exertion, it's accelerated things. She's not in pain. But Cole. I know, he said. He crouched beside Bella. She turned her face toward him. Dark eyes. Still reading him. Still, even now, checking how he was. You found him, he said again. His voice was something he'd lost full control of. 42. You found 42. He pressed his forehead against hers. He closed his eyes. He breathed. Around them, at the staging area, at the road, where 12 officers and volunteers and 2 deputy sheriffs and 1 fire captain had gathered. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. 1 deputy, a young woman named Officer Reyes, barely 2 years on the job, put her hand over her mouth. The fire captain looked at the ground. 2 of the volunteer searchers were crying without being aware of it. Nobody was ashamed. Nobody was embarrassed. Because some things earn tears. Some things demand them. Bella came home that afternoon. She slept for 18 hours. Cole slept on the floor beside her. When she woke, she found her morning light, the east window, and turned her face into it the way she always had. He watched her from the kitchen doorway, coffee going cold in his hand. He thought about Pam. He called her that evening. She answered. He didn't plan what he said. He just said, I think I've been doing this wrong for a long time. I think I forgot that a job isn't the same as a life. And I don't know if this matters anymore. But I think I'm sorry. Silence. A long one. Then Pam said, What made you figure that out? He looked at Bella in the morning light. My dog, he said. Pam laughed. It was the first time he'd heard her laugh in 4 years. It sounded like something returning. Noah Garrett was discharged from the hospital 3 days later. His parents drove to Cole's house. His mother, a young woman named Claire whose hands hadn't stopped shaking since the morning he disappeared, crouched down in Cole's living room and held Bella's face in both hands. She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then she found him. She found him, Cole said. Claire pressed her forehead against Bella's. The same gesture Cole had made in the woods, like something that needed no translation. Noah, standing behind his mother, holding his father's hand, wearing a dinosaur sweatshirt, looked at Bella with the absolute focused attention of a 4-year-old encountering something he doesn't have words for yet. He walked forward, sat down on the floor beside her, put his small hand on her side. Bella turned her head, looked at him. Her tail moved once, slow and certain. Noah smiled. Bella lived 4 more months. They were good months. Morning light, Cole's floor, the east window, small dignified walks around the block when she felt like it. The occasional visitor, Derek drove down from Kansas City twice. Tess came home for a weekend and sat on the floor with Bella for 2 hours, just talking, the way you talk to someone you love who is leaving. Cole started seeing a therapist in Columbia, not because anyone told him to, because one morning he woke up and thought, Bella spent herself completely for something outside herself. She didn't hold anything back. She didn't save anything for later. He thought, I've been saving everything for later. He thought, later is now. He called Pam twice more. They had coffee once. It wasn't a reconciliation. It wasn't that simple, and neither of them pretended. But it was honest. And honest, Cole was learning, was more than he'd been giving for a very long time. When a morning came that Bella didn't get up for her light, that she lay on her bed in the quiet house and breathed slowly and looked at him with those dark eyes and simply, gently let go, Cole was right beside her, his hand on her side, feeling her breathe. Then not. He sat with her for a long time afterward. He got out his notebook, opened to the log, added one more entry. Bella, partner, 11 years old, 42 found, not one of them forgotten. He closed the notebook, put it back in the glove compartment, and sat in the quiet for a while, letting it be quiet. There are dogs that do their jobs, and then there are dogs like Bella, who understand, somewhere deeper than training, deeper than instinct, deeper than anything we have a word for, that the job is not the point. The people are the point. Noah is the point. Sophie, whose name is in the log, is the point. All 42 are the point. Bella knew that. She knew it on a cold April morning when every protocol said rest and every medical reality said stop. And she stood at a glass door and waited for her partner to open it. She knew it when she walked into those woods on a failing heart and a torn leg and spent herself down to the last. She knew it the way she always knew things, before anyone told her, before anyone else understood. The bravest thing you can do is spend yourself on something that matters, even when, especially when, you don't have much left to spend. Bella knew. She always knew. If this story reached you, if it found you at the right moment, you're not alone. Feel like if Bella's story moved you. Subscribe. We're here every single week with stories like this one. Drop your country in the comments. We want to see how far Bella's story travels around the world. And if you have a dog, hold them a little tighter tonight. They already know everything that matters. They've always known. Take care of your people. And take care of your dogs. They take care of everything else.